Welcome back to my channel, and today is Earth Day. If you haven't seen, I am deep into making the Project Hail Mary fox cardigan right now, and while that has been taking over my life and my brain power and everything, I thought we would pause for a day and make something else Project Hail Mary related that is more fitting to the current holiday. That is right, today we are making the Earth Hacky Sack, the lava bean bag, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to show you how to make it in this video, and I will also have a pattern posted, hopefully when this video goes up, if not very shortly after, and that will all be linked in the description below. I will also have an Amazon storefront with all the materials you need to make your own Earth Hacky Sack. Oh, and here's a little fox cardigan update for anyone that wants it. I'm working on the back panel right now, and then I'm close to being finished. So definitely keep an eye on my videos to see more about that. But I should also have a full vlog of the experience of making it when I finish it, so keep an eye out for all of that. But without further ado, let's get into the video. Here are all of the materials you're going to need to make your very own Earth beanbag. Weight 3 yarn in dark blue, white, light green, and tan. A 2.5mm crochet hook. A tapestry needle, a stitch marker, scissors. This is optional, but I used nylon stockings for my filling, and your filling of choice, poly beads, rice, dried beans, stuffing. Before we get into the pattern, I want to explain how I'm going to do this. Each dot is going to be a stitch, and the color of the dot is going to signify what color that stitch will be. If there's 2 dots in parentheses, it's an increase, and 1 dot in parentheses is a decrease. So if you had this, for example, it would be 1 single crochet decrease in white, 2 single crochet in blue, a single crochet increase both in green, and 1 single crochet in tan. Hope that makes sense, but I think you'll get it as we go along. For our first round, it is fairly simple. We are just going to do 6 single crochet into a magic ring, and all 6 stitches are going to be with white yarn. I just made my magic ring, and now I am doing my 6 single crochets. I'm going to speed it up a bit because I think we all know what a single crochet looks like. Here it is at the end, and now I'm going to pull my yarn tight to close that ring. And here's what it should look like at the end of round 1. Moving on to round 2 now, we are going to be doing a single crochet increase in each stitch. So we are going to do 2 single crochets in each single crochet stitch of the previous row. Our first increase, is going to be with our white yarn still. So I'm just going to do those really quick. There's my first single crochet, and I'm going back into that same stitch to do my increase, still with my white yarn. And for our next increase, we are going to switch to our blue yarn. So I'm doubling my blue yarn up because it was a little bit too thin, and I want it to be the same weight as the white yarn that I'm using. So I'm just doubling mine. I'm adding a stitch marker to our first stitch of this row, so that I don't get lost. And now I'm going to do my next single crochet increase, but instead of using my white yarn, I'm going to add in my blue yarn. So there's my first single crochet with blue, and I'm going to go back into that same stitch to do my increase with my blue yarn as well. And then we're just going to repeat that all the way around, doing 2 single crochets in each stitch, and the remainder of the round is all in blue yarn. So I will speed this up and meet you back at the beginning. I just finished my last single crochet increase, and this is what it should look like at the end of round 2. Round 3 is going to be another increase row. For this row, we are going to do 1 single crochet and then a single crochet increase, and we're going to repeat that pattern all the way around. So we're going to do our first stitch in blue. I'm going to add my stitch marker back in there. And then our first single crochet increase, both stitches are going to be blue. So there's my first single crochet, and I'm going back into that same stitch and doing another single crochet, also in blue. Our next stitch is just a normal single crochet in blue. And then next for our single crochet increase, we are actually going to add in our green yarn now. I'm cutting my white yarn because I am done with that until the end, so I'll just add it back in at the end. But now we are adding in green. Once again, I'm doubling my yarn up. You don't have to do this if you have the right size yarn. So we're going to go into our next stitch. This is a single crochet increase stitch. So we are going to add in our green yarn and do our first single crochet. And then we're going to go back into that same stitch and do another single crochet with our green yarn as well. So we're just going to follow this pattern that I have up on the screen. Our next stitch is a single crochet in green, and then a single crochet increase. Both stitches are in green. Next is our single crochet, and it is in blue. So we're going to drop our green yarn and pick back up our blue yarn from the beginning of the round. And do a single crochet like normal. And then we have a single crochet increase next, which is also both stitches in blue. Our next 5 stitches are all in green, so we are going to drop our blue yarn and pick up our green yarn for our first single crochet. And next we have an increase, both stitches in green. Next is a single crochet in green. And for our last single crochet increase, we are going to do the first stitch in green, and then we're going to go back into that same stitch, but this time we are going to drop our green yarn and pick up our blue yarn and do our last single crochet in blue. I hope that was not too confusing. I went through that entire row with you just so that it kind of made more sense. And this is what it should look like at the end of round 3. Round 4, our instructions for this round are 2 single crochets followed by a single crochet increase, and then we're going to repeat that pattern all the way around. So our first 2 single crochets are going to be with our blue yarn. There's one. I'm going to add back in my stitch marker. And there's our second single crochet. Next we have a single crochet increase, so 2 blue stitches in the same stitch. Our next single crochet is going to be in blue as well. But our next single crochet is going to be in green, so we are going to drop our blue yarn and pick up our green yarn. When you're picking up your yarn to do color changes, just make sure you're leaving enough slack that it doesn't pull the project too taut. And now I'm going to do a single crochet increase in green, both stitches. So we're just going to repeat like that all the way around. We're going to do 2 single crochets and then a single crochet increase. So there was my first single crochet, here's my second, and in this next stitch we are going to do an increase. We're still using our green yarn. Next is a green single crochet. And then we're going to drop our green yarn to pick back up our blue yarn. And we're going to do 1 single crochet in blue. And then we're going to do our single crochet increase, both stitches in blue. Now the rest of the row is going to be in green. So you're just going to keep up with the pattern of 2 single crochets followed by a single crochet increase, all in green for the rest of the row. And I think we have 2 more of that pattern to do. There's my 2 single crochets. And my increase. My last 2 single crochets. And my last increase. I'm going to start speeding these rows up after this, but I just wanted to make sure that I gave you enough opportunity to kind of understand how this color chart works like this. But that is how it should look at the end of round 4. Round 5, and this is our second to last increase round. We're going to do 3 single crochets followed by a single crochet increase, and you're going to repeat that all the way around. This round is all in blue and green. So our first little sequence is in blue. We're going to do our first single crochet in blue and then add back in our stitch marker. And then we're going to do 2 more single crochets in blue. And now we're going to do an increase. Both single crochets are going to be blue as well. And there's our first little sequence. Our next 2 sequences are entirely in green, so we are going to drop our blue yarn and pick up our green yarn. And we're going to do 3 single crochets in green. And then a single crochet increase, both stitches in green as well. And then we're going to repeat that one more time. 3 single crochets in green. And a single crochet increase, both stitches in green. Our next sequence has a color change, so the first of our 3 single crochets is going to be in green. And then we're going to drop our green yarn and pick back up our blue. And do 2 single crochets in blue. And then we're going to do a single crochet increase, both stitches in blue. And then we're going to do 3 single crochets all in blue. Our next increase, the first stitch is going to be blue, and then we are going to drop our blue yarn and do the second single crochet in that stitch in green. And the rest of our row is in green. We are going to do 3 single crochets all in green. And our increase, both stitches in green as well, to finish off this row. And it should look something like this when you're done with round 5. Round 6 is our last increase row, so the instructions for this row are 4 single crochets followed by a single crochet increase like we've been doing, and repeat that all the way around. So our first stitch starts with blue. We're going to do 4 single crochets in blue. Here's my first one, and then I'm putting my stitch marker back in. So we have 3 more single crochets in blue to do. And then we are going to do an increase. Both stitches are blue as well. And that's the end of our first little sequence. Our next sequence is going to be all green. So 4 single crochets in green. And an increase, both stitches in green as well. And then you're going to repeat that sequence one more time. I'm going to speed this up because I feel like you probably understand how to do this now. Just follow along with all of the colors on the dots up at the top of the screen until you get to the end of the row, and I will meet you back there. I'm doing my last increase stitch right here. And it should look like this when you are done with round 6. Rounds 7 through 15 are all going to be the same instructions, but obviously each row has different colors. So we're just going to single crochet in each stitch for the 36 stitches all the way around. I'm going to speed a lot of these videos up just because I feel like you kind of get the point now, but if you need to, you can slow it down and see me do all of the stitches in real time. But for the sake of time, I'm just going to speed them up and meet you back at the beginning. I've split the stitches up into little groups of 6 so that it's easier to follow the colors and that you don't get lost as easily. But in this row, we are adding in our tan yarn finally. Hindsight, I wish I had gotten a better tan yarn. I think this yarn is not too close to what's in the movie, but that's okay. I'm just adding that in, and then I will just continue on with my color work as it is at the top of the screen. For these next couple rows, if you watch carefully to what I am doing, do as I say, not as I do. I kind of messed up on a few of them with some of the green stitches at the end, and I changed the pattern afterwards. So follow along with what's at the top of the screen, not necessarily what I am doing on the screen. Alright, I will meet you back at the beginning of the round. And here's how we are looking at the end of round 7. Round 8, we are once again doing a single crochet in each stitch around. So I'm really just going to speed through this round, but make sure you're following the colors at the top. In this round we have 6 blue stitches, 7 tan stitches, 5 green, 11 blue, 4 green, and we finish it off with 3 more blue stitches at the end. I will meet you back at the beginning of the row. And here is how it should look after round 8. Round 9 is the same as what we've been doing, single crochet in each stitch around. In this row we have 5 blue stitches followed by 6 tan stitches, 2 blue, 1 tan, 2 blue, 2 green, 12 blue, 2 green, and then we finish it off with 4 blue stitches. I'm going to speed it up and I will meet you back at the beginning. And this is how it should look after round 9. We are starting to curve a little bit. Round 10, and we are doing the same thing, single crochet in each stitch around. This round has 5 blue stitches, followed by 7 tan stitches, followed by 3 blue, 1 green, 1 blue, 1 green, 13 blue, 3 green, and then we finish off the round with 2 blue stitches. I will meet you back at the beginning. And here's how we are looking after round 10. We're really starting to curve now. Round 11 is another single crochet round, so we are just going to do a single crochet in each stitch. Before we get into this though, I'm going to share a little tip with you about when you are carrying your yarn strands across the project. You don't want to pull them so that they go through the middle. What I do is I take one of my fingers and I hold the slack against the side of the project. This will help later when we are filling the beanbag. There won't be any yarn strands in the way in the middle of the project. Hope that was helpful. In this round we have 1 tan stitch followed by 5 blue, 6 green, 7 blue, 1 green, 11 blue, 2 green, and we end with 3 tan stitches. So I will meet you back at the beginning of the round. And here is how it should look at the end of round 11. We are making progress. Round 12 is another single crochet round. In this one we have 2 tan stitches followed by 6 blue stitches, 4 green, 7 blue, 2 green, 10 blue, 2 green, and then we end with 3 tan stitches. And here is how it should look at the end of round 12. Round 13, we're going to single crochet in each stitch around again. In this round we start with 1 tan stitch followed by 7 blue stitches, 4 green, 7 blue, 3 tan, 10 blue, and then we end with 4 tan stitches. And here is how that row looks at the end. Row 14, another single crochet row. In this row we have 8 blue stitches followed by 2 tan, 9 blue, 3 tan, 10 blue, 2 green, and then we end with 2 tan stitches. And here is how it looks at the end of 14. We are getting close to our decrease round. Row 15 is our last single crochet round. Yay! In this round we are going to do 9 blue stitches followed by 1 tan stitch, 10 blue stitches, 3 tan, 9 blue, 2 green, and then we end with 2 blue stitches. And here is how we should look at the end of round 15. We are officially done with the center portion of our earth, and now we are going to start doing our decreases. We finally made it to our decrease rounds, so we are going to start each of our rounds that are decreasing with our decrease. So I'm going to insert my hook into the front loop of the first 2 stitches, yarn over, pull up a loop, and do a single crochet like normal. This is called an invisible decrease, I believe. I like to do them this way, it is the most seamless to me. And then we're going to follow that by 4 single crochets. I'm going to do this entire row with you guys just so that you get the hang of the decreases, and then I will speed it up in the future decrease rows. There's not many color changes on this round, which is kind of nice. We just did our first sequence in blue. We're going to do another. I'm going to do another decrease, so I'm going to go into the front loop of the next 2 stitches, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then do a single crochet like normal. And then I'm going to follow that by 4 single crochets. back to another decrease. And then we're going to follow that by 4 single crochets also in blue. Now we have our color changing one, so we are going to do our decrease still with our blue yarn. And then we're going to switch over to our tan yarn for 3 single crochets. I'm switching back to my blue yarn now for my last single crochet in this little sequence. And then we get to do the next couple stitches in our blue as well. So another decrease, followed by 4 single crochets. And now we are on to our last decrease, which is also going to be in blue. And then we are going to switch our yarn to green for our next 2 single crochets. And then back to blue for our last 2 stitches. And this is what it should look like at the end of our 16th round. There's all my crazy ends in there. Round 17 is another decrease round. We are going to start with another single crochet decrease. So I'm going to insert my hook into the front loops of the first 2 stitches, pull up a loop, and then single crochet like normal. Putting my stitch marker back in, and then we are going to follow that with 3 single crochets. That is the sequence that you are going to repeat all the way around. A single crochet decrease followed by 3 single crochets. I'm going to speed this up because I'm sure you understand how to do this now, and this round doesn't have a lot of color changing, so it's mostly all in blue until we get to the end. I'm doing my last sequence now, which is the one that has a color change. So we are starting with our single crochet decrease in our blue yarn. And then our first single crochet is going to be with our green yarn. And then our last 2 single crochets are both in blue. And here is what it should look like at round 17. I'm going to take my hook out because we are going to fill the beanbag next. It is time to fill our little bean bag with our poly beads or stuffing or whatever you choose to use. I am using these little plastic pellets from Hobby Lobby. They were in the doll making section, so I don't know if they're used for stuffing dolls or what, but they are going to be perfect for this. You could just put these directly into the beanbag, but I was worried that they might fall through some of the little gaps in the stitches, so I'm going to first put them into these nylon stockings. I got these at the dollar store. There's like 4 in there for $1.25, so great deal. We're just going to take one, and we are going to cut the little foot part off a little bit longer than our beanbag so that we have room to tie it at the end. We are not going to need this top part. And now I'm going to place the stocking in the beanbag before I fill it, just so that the beads don't fall everywhere and make a mess. And now we are going to fill it with our poly beads or whatever you choose to fill this with. You could use rice, you could use dried beans, you could even just use stuffing. I'm filling mine a little bit extra because I know that I still have a few more rows to crochet above this, but once it is filled to your desire, you are going to tie a knot so that none of the beads fall out. The easiest way that I found to do this was to take each side of the stockings and kind of tie them into a knot that way. I also found that this laid the flattest out of any of the knots I tried. So I'm just making sure to tie this super tight so that none of the beads will fall out. And then you could cut these yarn tails or you could just tuck them in like I did, but this knot lays the flattest and is really not even noticeable at all at the end. And now we are just going to continue crocheting around our little filling bag. Before we move on to our next round, I am actually going to cut my tan and green yarn. I will no longer be needing those, so I'm just going to cut them, and then I'm just going to tuck my little yarn tails into my earth bean bag. And now we are working on round 18. There are no color changes in this row, which is super nice. We're going to start with a decrease, of course, a single crochet decrease. And then we're going to follow that by 2 single crochets. And this entire row is done in our blue yarn. So I just did my decrease and now I am doing my 2 single crochets. And then I'm going to speed this up because I think we all know how to do this at this point. It can be a little challenging crocheting around the stocking inside, but kind of gives you something to hold on to, so just work your way around and take your time. Make sure you don't miss any stitches. And I will meet you back at the beginning. Here is how it should look after the 18th round. Our little hole at the top is getting more closed. We are at round 19 and we are bringing back our white yarn. This entire round and actually the next round are both in white, so we are going to reattach our yarn, and in this round we are doing 1 single crochet decrease followed by a single crochet. You're going to repeat that sequence all the way around. So for my first decrease, I'm putting my hook in the front loops of the next 2 stitches, and then I am going to reattach my white yarn and pull that up as a loop, and then finish it like a normal single crochet. I'm going to put my stitch marker even though I can kind of see where this row begins because of the white. And in the next stitch we are going to do a normal single crochet. You're going to repeat that all the way around. A single crochet decrease followed by a single crochet. I'm going to speed this up and I will meet you back at the beginning. Now that I am done with that row, I can cut my blue yarn because I am officially done with it. I'm going to tuck that little tail back in, and this is what it should look like at the end of the 19th row. We made it to round 20. This is our final round of this beanbag. We're just going to do a single crochet decrease all the way around. So we should have 6 single crochet decreases in total. I will do one with you and then I will speed it up. And now we are done, so we can cut our yarn, leaving a little bit of a tail. And to finish this off, we are just going to use a tapestry needle. And with our yarn tail, we're going to weave that yarn tail back through the front loops of each of our last 6 stitches. And then you're just going to pull it to close it, and we are officially done. You can weave your little yarn tail back through the center and out anywhere, and then you can cut it. And here is our finished Little Earth lava bean bag. It's got all the continents on there. We've got the North Pole at the top, North America, South America, Africa, Europe and Asia, Australia, and of course Antarctica down there. I got this film strip when I saw Project Hail Mary in IMAX that has little crocheted earth on it. So this is a nice little comparison. And here is our final little earth hacky sack beanbag. I think this turned out so cute. It is perfect for Earth Day, and it really didn't take that long. I think it took about maybe 2.5 hours all in. Hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you make one, be sure to tag me on social media. I have all of them linked in the description below, as well as all the materials that you would need to make this and the written pattern, which will be available on my Etsy. Make sure you're following along on my social medias because I am deep in the making of my fox sweater right now. So there's lots of fun content going on over there right now. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.